On the 28th of March 2026, spokesperson of the Kwankwaso movement announced that His Excellency, the former governor of Kano State, former senator representing Kano Central, former Minister for State for Defense, and former Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep, Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, and the Kwankwaso movement will officially join the African Democratic Party, the ADC, the opposition coalition party, ahead of the 2027 election. Kwankwaso is expected to join the ADC in his home state, Kano, on Monday, 30th of March 2026. On the 29th of this month, Sunday 29th, Kwankwaso finally landed in Kano, where he's expected to make the big announcements. We have to talk about it, dear friends. My dear friend, we are back again. Kwankwaso's mood after the 2023 election was filled with a lot of uncertainty. Nobody knew where Kwankwaso really stand, or where he stood rather. Sometimes he acted like he wanted opposition. Sometimes he acted like he was in support of Tinubu. At last, he has, stated his position. And when the governor Yusuf Abba moved, some people say it was just a strategy to deceive people. I was one of those who said that. But I recall you said we should wait first. That anything can happen. But at last, we can now know that this is where Kwankwaso stands. At least as at this moment.
Thank you once again. It is important to note that the first thing to note here is the fact that Kwankwaso's political popularity and everything he enjoys stays in Kano, or started in Kano and ends in Kano. Alright? But then, you should also note again that Kwankwaso has always been a bargainer in politics. Okay. So, it is either he's a spoiler for wanting to just show himself and tell the whole world that this is who I am. In case you need my services, you need my help here and there, you can come to me. If you bargain with him, his influence will work for you in that region. If you don't, he will play the spoiler and destroy everything. Now, the governor went to APC and people were all like, okay, what is going on? Will you join him there? Obviously, you can't find Kwankwaso in the same space as Abba Yusuf. For Abba Yusuf to go to APC, it is simply clear that he wants out of Kwankwaso's influence, or playing in Kwankwaso's shadows. So it is clear now what is about to happen. Kwankwaso is on his way to ADC. He is already in ADC. What is left is a formal announcement of his joining the party, and you can imagine what it portends for ADC and indeed the APC, the ruling party.
Talking about what it portends, because I think I must say I like how you ended what it portends. Now, talking about what it portends, I'm looking at the result of the 2023 election. If Kwankwaso makes that big announcement, the implication is that the first run-up, the second run-up, or the third, the first, second, and the third run-ups in the 2023 presidential election are now in one political party. Assuming we play the 2023 scenario, assuming we play that scenario. So Atiku Abubakar scored about 6.9 million votes. Peter Obi scored 6.1. Kwankwaso scored 1.4. Cumulatively, you have about 14 million votes as against Tinubu's 8. That's 14.5 million as against Tinubu's 8.7. So, assuming we put that, bearing in mind that a lot of factors have changed. For example, the APC now have 31 governors, and they may have their 32nd one. They didn't have 32 governors in 2023. So, my point here is, let's look at what does this protect.
Okay, you said something about the APC. Let me take that APC having 31 governors. Mm-hmm. in this election, going into the 2027 election, it is clear that the dynamics have changed. The governors themselves that are in APC are not quite sure of them retaining their seats, not to talk of helping Tinubu to win. But let us now go back to this Kwankwaso's defection.
Yeah.
Kwankwaso alone had 1.4 million votes.
Yeah.
And the majority of these votes came from Kano State.
About 900 of them
came from Kano State.
From Kano alone.
Okay. You can as well say that even though the dynamics in 2023 is not the same as 2024,
yeah,
you can always say that something close to this figure can still come out of Kano State. That is number one. Number two, Peter Obi is another force to reckon with. Then Atiku. But the point I really want to make is that you could see that the support that these individuals enjoyed in 2023 were organic and
in their own rights.
Yeah. And now, Tinubu at the time was not a sitting president. People voted, some of the people who may have voted him at the time voted because they thought that as a master transit strategist, the one who changed Lagos from Lagos to what it is right now will do better.
His Buhari factor was there.
Buhari's factor was there.
Okay.
But now there is no Buhari factor, and you can now see.
And he's now the sitting president.
And you can now see his performance. So his performance will be another criteria to judge him. Then you now go back to these same people with their organic supporters. What it will stand, what it will mean for the APC and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Clearly, this election looks like. I do not want to state here, but like I said,
I think it's going to be a tough election.
If ADC,
the ADC is becoming formidable at the moment.
If ADC is that opposition, they are trying to let Nigerians know that they are. I am telling you for free that some people who say the election have been won and lost will be thinking right now to eat their words or to come back and correct themselves.
Let's look at this. You talked about the factors having changed. Now, I concede that some factors have changed. For example, in 2023, people talked about it is the turn of the South. In 2027, I do not think that argument has really gone, because some people are still saying that the South should be allowed to complete their second term. In 2023, I just want you to be taking note of this. In 2023, the Muslim ticket played a role. In 2027, do you think it will still play a role? In 2023, we saw that urban youth. I use the word urban youth because some rural youth, especially in the north, didn't really agree. But some urban youth, we could call the obedience, came out to say, look, we want a change in the system. Yeah, I agree that the obedient movement have not left us. They are still there. Whether they are still the way it was in 2023 is a topic on its own. But they are still there. Is a factor to talk about. APC currently has 31 governors and about 84 senators. Let's look at the Southeast, for example. Some people in the Southeast are now saying, yeah, we made a mistake in 2023. We were not supposed to have voted against Tinubu. Tinubu is a man who knows how to win elections. Okay? So, looking at all these factors, because these are the factors I feel that are part of the things that will decide the outcome of the election.
Okay, now
do you think it is going to work in favor of the incumbent at the end of the day?
Okay, I would like to let me try to gather all these points together.
Yeah.
Number one, this country it is now in a state of emergency on its own. The urban youth and the rural youth are all feeling the heat of what the policies of this present government has offered us. So, if we are going to be talking about Southern, Christian, Muslim, nobody wants to know that now. Everybody is looking for the way out. And then for some people who say they made mistakes in the 2023 election by voting against Tinubu, I wouldn't want to. You can clearly see that the people of the same region responded. And it was clear that they are the ones now making the same mistake by trying to cow the entire region to be in their so-called movement. And I also want to state that if they come around again to do something like this, it is very possible that it will not be only rice that will be carted away. Something else will be carted away. So clearly those people are just speaking for themselves. They may have made a mistake on their own as persons, but the region
As businessmen.
Thank you. But we some of us in this region are not part of that mistake, so we are still with our senses intact. That's just all I have to say. So this Muslim religious card, regional card, and whatever individual card they might want to play will not work out as things stands in this country. Correct.
Now let's narrow this home, because we are talking about Kwankwaso. It was Kwankwaso that led us to this. We have to talk about the Kano State politics in all this. People say that Governor Yusuf Abba is gone with this move of Kwankwaso. I am one of those who believe that maybe he may not be able to deliver to the president, but he might manage to win second term.
If Governor Abba Yusuf delivers his constituency, then he must have done well. I am telling you straightforward, with the way things are, Governor Abba Yusuf is not going back to that government house.
But factors could change.
Factors will change. That is if a miracle happens.
But look, why I only try to agree with people who say that it's just because he has refused to remove the Kwankwaso cap. I don't know why he has refused to remove it to put on the mandate cap, because we should be.
The mandate cap is almost a haram now in the north. That is number one. Number two, the Kwankwaso cap is still an influence. So maybe he wants to make people believe he's still with the Kwankwaso, but not in the party where the Kwankwaso founder is. Maybe that is the trick he wants to play. But clearly, as things are right now, Governor Abba Yusuf is probably sweating in his pants and hoping that a miracle that will never happen will,
There are two other men I would like us to discuss in this. Nasu Gwanam, the immediate past deputy governor of Kano State, and the APC candidate in the 2023 election. There's also rumors that he intends to join the ADC too. And then, in all this, the fight in Kano have now moved from Ganduje versus Kwankwaso to now Kwankwaso versus Abba Yusuf. And I can't really say where Ganduje stands in this, but we can say that Senator Jubrin is with the governor.
I don't know why Ganduje is coming into this conversation, but Ganduje is a gunner in terms of Kano politics. He didn't have the influence in the first place. It was Kwankwaso's influence. So he lost that influence the moment he parted ways with Kwankwaso. That is one. Number two, whoever is joining the ADC may have had a bargain with Kwankwaso, and Kwankwaso that I know is not one who goes back on his words. If he says this is what you do, this is what you stand to gain if you do this, it will definitely be. So whoever emerges as ADC's candidate is most likely going to be the next governor of Kano State.
And you also know the deputy governor has resigned. I don't know whether the governor have accepted his resignation or want to proceed to impeach him, but he has resigned. So these are the factors that will all play out in the coming days.
Until the only time will tell. But as for the governor, I can't pray for him. Let him pray for himself.
Well, I think one fact is clear, my dear friend. ADC rather is gradually becoming a formidable force, and is a force that cannot be wished away. The 2027 election will likely be tough. For now, I can't really say who is going to be the winner. That's how we're going to end it today. Please, dear friends, if this video comes your way, do subscribe. Your comments, your criticism is always appreciated. From this decks is a good day.